Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a motherfucking smack addict. Bye. In a minuto style in direct fashion, we're going to get straight into the content of the day. But before we do, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Ding. Put your notification bell on all. So that way you're directing the direction of the dope content I'm kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support, man. We're going up on this channel. And it's all because of you. And for that, I can say I'm very humbled. And I appreciate you guys a lot. I couldn't do it without you. So I wanted to tell a story. Something that happened in my life. Something that had a lot of truth and a lot of consequences, right? Every move you make in life has consequences, man. There's karma, there's a conscience, and there's consequences. And all these three things gel together, man, and can really mess your life up. Can really take you down a path into incarceration or death. And sometimes, man, there's just a lot of hate and envy that goes along with it. So in this story that I'm going to tell, it's truth and facts, man. This is something that happened in my life. And I think this was the start of the demise of my career. This was the kink in my whole get down, right? This was what made me think and really realize and see for the first time that all my homies and everyone that was around me really wasn't as solid with me as I thought they were as I was with them, right? So an incident took place in my town. And basically the gist of this story is the whole city was against me. Everybody. There was a lot of people tripping on me. It came down to life or death situations when it came down to this. And ultimately I ended up incarcerated. But so at that time I was fully active. And everything that was being brought out to me, all the laws and everything that I was reading was basically saying at that time to hit all dropouts, right? No dropouts would be able to set up shop or function within the city of Merced where I was from. It just wasn't going to happen. Now, prior to this, we hadn't really heard the word dropout or degenerate or non-active. It was kind of just basically if you stopped gangbanging and you backed up, then you kind of like disappeared and you backed up. No one really tripped on you. We had too much on our plate and we were doing too much, making too much feria and doing our thing to really worry about somebody who had fell off or wasn't gangbanging anymore. We didn't care. It wasn't a big loss to us. You know, it was surprising when some of our homies just disappeared on us. People we grew up with, like, hey, whatever happened to the homie? I heard he's locked up. Half of the time, we didn't know if he was in or out. We weren't keeping up with it. Because again, man, just like I say, when you get locked up, out of sight, out of mind, everybody fucking forgets about you, right? So we'd forget and it'd be a few years and be like, hey, what happened with the homeboy? Whoop-de-whoop. Like, I don't know. Maybe he whopped-de-whopped. And that was it. But for the most part, once these fucking dictations started to come out, once these laws started to fly, our focus now was on degenerates and dropouts. People that were part of something that had backed up for whatever reason, they were now considered the target. We weren't sweating Southsiders from Atwater or Winton. We weren't sweating people from the other side. We weren't tripping like that. Our whole focus was to eradicate the invasion of what we considered a threat to our group, which were dropouts. And the hard thing about getting these guys was we didn't understand at that point in time who was who and what was what. You'd run up on someone who you were suspicious of. And I mean, it got to the point where we were literally checking paperwork on the streets, making phone calls. And it was some dangerous situations, man. I remember one time at the club, there was a guy there. And my homeboy was like, I recognize that fool, man. I recognize that. I think he fell off. I think he backed up. So I was like, well, hit him up. So the homeboy got at him. And really come to find out, so this is what happened. The homeboy hits him up. We pull him in the bathroom. Homeboy's like, where's your paperwork at? This is a fucking club. The guy's on the streets. He's not carrying his paperwork like Wes Watson hooped in his asshole, right? This dude was like, bro, I ain't never been locked up. I don't know what you're talking about. The homeboy was in his grill like, nah, bro. Then it came to a certain point where it's just like, fuck it. We got off. We smashed this dude. Now, that could have led to two things. It could have been an ending to our career because here we are smashing someone who could have been in good standings, could have been a good homie. Come to find out, after all this takes place, we get kicked out of the club, chased out of there. All this shit went down. The dude wasn't even a gang member. He was in the Marines, bro. And the homeboy was really mad at him because he was dancing with his ex-old lady. See how personal things could fucking affect the whole get down? Exactly, man. And that's exactly what happened in that case. But here we were like lummy dummies going with the program. So anyways, back to the gist, right? Of what's really going on. So we were doing that in them times, really looking for degenerates. And there was one that had gotten out and he was high priority. Okay. If we seen this guy, we're supposed to get at him. And every twist and turn, and this was, he was a fool with it. He wasn't no punk, okay? He was cut from that cloth. He had decided to back up and join a prison gang, a dropout prison gang and all that. And we were here when he was recruiting people. He was pushing that agenda. And every time we tried to catch up with him, we just couldn't. Well, there was a time where we were not allowed to go. And I say allowed because that's what it was. We had got a wheel saying, hey, you guys in Merced are tripping. You guys should not partake in club business. Basically, don't go to clubs anymore. You guys don't know how to act. We were causing a lot of chaos at the clubs. Not saying I was involved in everything, but just saying as a whole, there was a lot of fucking shit going down that was fucking up the money. It was messing up the program. And we were told, hey, you guys are banned from the clubs. Stop going. You guys don't know how to act, right? You're not acting respectfully. And so we weren't. Well, while we weren't going to the clubs, this dropout gang member and his homeboys started to fucking frequent our spot, one of the places we used to go. And so, and I've told this story in the past. We knew this, but there was nothing we could really do about it. If we were thinking in the correct fashion, we could have posted up on the club, waited till he came out and got with this program. But I guess we just weren't too focused like that. Or, you know, people play the role and talk that shit, but when it really comes down to it, you know, it wasn't about that. Anyways, the ban gets lifted. We can all go back. First day, day one, I go back and get into an altercation with this guy. Okay, in the midst of getting in the altercation with the guy, there was a guy there who was an active homie. And he didn't participate in it. It's whatever, man. He was, I guess when you're part of something, you're obligated to get in the mix. But the shit happened so fast, and it wasn't like I gave him a forewarning. I just got off where I was mad at on this dude. It went down like that. I ended up getting stabbed. He gets stabbed. Shit happens. So anyways, this homie that was there, I knew him from way in the past, man. Good homie. Was from a different barrio, not my neighborhood. But I always had respect and love for him. I knew his whole family, his brother, man, rest in peace. I knew all them. So it's whatever, right? So everybody starts to come into question. Everybody wants to know, the powers that may be want to know who was there that night, what happened, why this incident took place. And basically it all came down to, hey, I seen the guy, man, he's the target. I took flight. It is what it is. That guy walks into a police department because the heat's coming down on him now. So now everybody in the town's tripping there. Everyone's looking for this dude. You know, there's no way an active homeboy, which was myself, is going to get stabbed during a melee, and it's not going to go on, you know, without repercussions. And so this guy feels the heat. So he walks into the Merced Police Department and he makes some statements. And basically one of the statements was, hey, you know, Gunner from Dead End, this guy, and that guy. I'm not going to say names, but all these different guys are doing the bidding of the NF, and they're fucking trying to take out DOs and everything and this and that. He basically spills the whole beans and tells the whole program to the cops. So, of course, this incident that took place at this bar, at this nightclub, the cops weren't even called to it initially, right? But now, because he's putting it out there, they put the APB on your boy. I'm on the front page of the paper, me and my crime partner at the time, who I ended up taking that whole case for, right? Or I took the case for myself, but he was able to bypass that shit because I said it was all me. They're looking for me. So I go on the run. I've told the stories. I went to Juarez, Mexico. I went here, I went there. Well, before that, the guy that was at the club with us, that was from a different barrio, he was involved in a murder, right? Where he was the victim. And when that happened, he was very well known in the town. You know, there was a lot of people that felt some type of way about it. They were sad, like, damn. I remember I was shocked when I heard about it. I was like, damn. Because all this happened like in a 3-week time period. So I had my issue going on with fucking, and now I'm on the run. I'm on the front page of the newspaper. I'm trying to wiggle and get somewhere. Like I said, eventually I went to Southern California, hid out for a couple weeks. From there, went to El Paso, Texas, walked over the border. I was at my grandfather's house in Juarez. I was chilling. Came back, the task force ended up catching up to me, right? And I catch 4 years in prison for that move, for running up on that dude in the bar, because of course he went into the police station and told on me, right? So it is what it is. But anyways, this guy gets killed, right? And the story about it is, I guess, it was a kind of a crazy story. I guess his old lady at the time was playing him out of pocket. She was basically fucking with another homeboy, and he was active at the time, and she was playing both guys, right? And she took her old man these guys were from the same neighborhood, allegedly, right? She took her old man out there to meet up with the homeboy that had just got out of San Quentin. And when they went out there, man, I don't know if there was an argument that took place. I don't know what happened. But I'll tell you what her story was. But they end up shooting this guy, right? Killing him, cutting him up. He gets buried, whatever. This chick ends up jamming, right? And for a few days, she's gone. She's MIA. And then she feels some type of way, maybe remorse of what happened. But she goes to the police station. She says that she was raped by these two brothers and that, they killed her old man and what they did. So, of course, cops go to do the investigation. They find the body. They lock the two homies up for that. So now these guys are put in the front of the county jail. They can't function with the rest of the people because they have a bad charge, put on their jacket. Even if no one knows if they did that or they didn't do it, but this is what she's alleging, okay, at the time. So it was a big story out there, man. And I remember a lot of people were feeling some type of way. So one day I'm chilling, and this is prior to me going on the run, and I had a tia that worked at the courthouse. She was an interpreter for the courts. And she comes in the house, right, fucking rushing in, knocking on my door. And I'm like, what's up? She was like, can I get at you? Right? Yeah, what's up? And she was like, hey, you need to fucking bounce now. And I go, why? She goes, your name keeps getting brought up in this investigation. And I go, I didn't have nothing to do with that, man. What are you talking about? That's just coincidence, man. He got clipped. That was a whole different thing than what I had going on. And she was like, yeah, they're saying that everything that he got hit, all because of it stemming from that bar incident. I said, nah, ain't no one even tripping on him like that. It was what it was. I mean, we were like, damn, who was all there? He was there. He didn't participate. It was what it was. No one was tripping like that. I remember he had given me a phone call, the victim, a couple of days after that thing. He was like, are you good, bro? Spencer, bro, fucking shit happened so fast. I didn't get a chance to really get involved, right? And I was like, and I didn't believe him. I was like, whatever. But at that time, I was so focused on me and mines and what I had going on and trying to get away from the shit that I wasn't really tripping like that on the homie. I was like, hey, it's all good, bro. It's all love, I got nothing but love for you, homie. And I meant it, and that was that. And like I said, a few weeks later, he ends up getting involved in his own thing and then gets killed, right? So there was a lot of people sweating me in the town for that. And even to this day, there's a lot of stories that go around. Like, hey, it was because of gun. It was because ultimately, I had nothing to do with any of that, right? I had zero to do with that. It was just a coincidence that these two incidences happened around the same time and didn't even happen within a week or two, like almost a month later, right? I was already on the run when I'm hearing about this guy getting killed. And I was like, damn, that's fucked up. So anyways, that was the word going around town. Now, okay, in the midst of being on the run, I'm coming back and forth before I get caught up by the task force, right? And I told you guys a story the other day about motherfuckers was trying to hit me. They had the tarp laid out in the fucking living room. And all this was stemming from that because this vato, I guess, got hit or whatever. They were trying to say that it was linked to what, the get down. And just because I had put in work and did my thing, they were like, if you would have never fucking got off on that dude, then this guy would have never had to be there and not participate. And because of that, he would have never got killed. And I was like, whoa, hold up. What does a rape murder investigation have anything to do with what we had going on? We were on some gang member shit. That ain't no gang shit. That's some domestic violence type bullshit. I don't know what that is, right? But that ain't this. And I would speak on my behalf, but there was a lot of people feeling some type of way. And they always look for a villain. I've noticed that in things, people always look for a reason to hate on someone. And I was already that type of person, man. Every time I would get out of prison, mysteriously, the gang task force would be at my house Tuesdays, Thursdays, Mondays, Sundays. They'd be hitting me constantly because people were dropping kites and trying to get rid of me. Because I'm not going to lie, when I was active, right? So what happened was I would get out with an agenda. My agenda would be to push the propaganda to the little homies, to get to spark a flame, to tell the homies, hey, there's going to be no complacency and kicking back. If we're going to do this, we're going to fucking do this, right? Let's go out there and really get down. And there was a couple things that took place that I'm not saying I was involved in or they were, but I'm just saying, right? And it seemed like there was a lot of people that wanted me off the streets. Most of the guys are the ones that talk that high power shit. They're with the program. But really, when someone gets out who's pushing the envelope, they don't want that. And I'm not saying I was super hardcore like that. I'm not trying to act like that, because I know there's going to be haters like, oh, Gun, you're lying and you're bullshitting. No, that's your truth. Now I'm going to tell mines, right? That's just the way it is. I felt, and I didn't have no evidence that motherfuckers were telling on me, but I mean, come on, the proof was in the pudding. Even when I got caught by the task force, it was very weird, right? How I got caught up. Homegirls calling, talking about, hey, where's your man? Where's your man? To my old lady. She's telling me this. When I got to the county, I'm on the phone calling her. She was like, damn, it's funny. All the homegirls were like, where you at? Where's he at? Where's he at? Chicks that never even tripped on me. Yeah, they knew where the fuck I was at. I was in the county jail because they sent the cops to my front door. Just saying, them and their boyfriends, right? But it's cool. You know, I took it with stride. That's part of the struggle and the hustle. But anyways, so I'm hearing all this shit like, hey, they're trying to involve you. So I'm getting at who I need to get at. And I'm like, hey, bro, I had nothing to do with none of that. Like, how was my incident? Why is my name getting brought up in this shit? You know what I'm saying? If I would have felt some type of way, I'd have did it myself, bro. But it was always love for that dude. And homies were like, nah, we know, bro. They're just fucking, people are just talking. Well, I was like, well, people talking can get a motherfucker clipped. You know, can get me hurt or someone else hurt because, shit, I'm not trying to fucking have someone retaliate on me on something I had nothing to do with, you know, or even get caught up or arrested on this shit. Now, of course, ultimately, no charges came up because I think the investigation took place. Them guys were convicted of their crimes and whatever, you know, and I felt bad because I knew this homie that got killed since we were kids, man. I'm going to tell you, one time we were at the fair and 18, 19 years old. He was young. He was like 14, 15. He was a kid. But I knew his brother quite well, right? And I remember we're walking around the fair. We used to go to the fair and just walk around in a big group. Hella Norteños, like we were hard, man. Anyone wanted it, they can get it. You want some, get some. That was our motto. So we're walking around and there was a gang of Asians, the MODs. And now we had always been cool with the Asians. Never wanted no smoke with no Asians because them and guns are like in the same paragraph, you know, in the same linea. Them vatos fucking are strapped, or at least alleged to be strapped at all times. But we were just cool with the Asians. Like I said, there was never no drama. And we look and we see a melee going down. Gang of Asians getting off. And when I look, the young homies fucking getting jumped on. Him and a couple homies are getting jumped on by these Asians. And they were right there where you fucking throw the dimes. And it's crazy because I'm going to do another video on the other channel about the Stanislaus County Fair today. But make sure you tap in. But anyways, where they throw the dimes and they get like ashtrays, all those glassware, right? They're fucking hitting the homeboy, cracked his whole mask. That he's all leaking everywhere. And I remember we all came running over and started getting off with the Asians, right? This is the only time in my life that I've ever got off with the Asians. I'm going to tell you right now, they, wow, them motherfuckers are with the shits, right? So anyways, I remember saving the homie. His brother calling me like, hey, bro, good looking out, man. Fuck, he's all concussed up. He's fucked up. And I said, yeah, man, they were on him. I don't even know why that shit started or what happened. Maybe just some disrespect or some words. But anyways, that's how far back we went. I had a lot of love for the little homie, man. Everyone did, especially the chicks. You know, he was a pretty boy. All the chicks loved him. They were on his jock. So fast forward to I go to prison now. And so that incident kind of cools down. Like I said, man, motherfuckers try to take me out behind that. I was able to wiggle, whatever, man. I still hear little things about it, but it's 4 years later. I go to prison. I take a plea deal on it, and I jam. And so I show the paperwork to everyone, like, hey, homies, look at this. This is how I got busted. Dude walked into the police department, whatever. Whoop de whoop. The homies are like, damn, that motherfucker. But it is what it is, man. He showed degenerate characteristics by doing that. But whatever. Well, in the midst of those 4 years is when I go to prison and I end up, my career comes to an end, right? And now I'm no longer active. You know, I'm in bad standings or whatever. So I have to parole to the town. And now I have a lot of things to worry about. One of them being, hey, are people still tripping on this bullshit from way back then that I had nothing to do with, right? Or are, you know, I'm on the active tripping on my head. Now, one thing about that I learned in Northern California, and this is true stories, there's individualism and homeboy favoritism. Some people get fucked with, some people don't. Now, you got to remember, man, when I was active, I was a threat. Not only was I a threat to the opposition, but to my own people, because it seemed like every time that we'd be fucking popping shit off, people would get locked up. So homies were like, man, I ain't trying to go with this. This dude's a fool, man. Motherfuckers is going to get caught up fucking with him. You know, this motherfucker's talking about he want to go hurt people. So there was a lot of people that didn't like me. Some of them my own homies, right? And now I fell off. This gave them every excuse and every reason to get on my shit. But I couldn't go nowhere. You know, so I lived in Livingston for a little while, which is right outside the Merced. I had my baby's mom out there. And then, of course, we ended up coming back, couldn't afford, plus the roaches were too extensive. So we ended up moving back to Merced and brought the roaches with us. And now I'm living right in the west side, right in the thick of things. And at that time, Pollo Loco, the rapper, was living with me from Darkroom Familia. I had a lot going on, but I wasn't going nowhere. I was working in Atwater at the Dole Company. I mean, I was seeing actives all day long. Some homeboys were tripping, some weren't. Whatever. So I ended up going to the pro office, right? And when I'm there, I'm sitting there, and fucking the homie that I had known for a long time, which was the guy who got killed's older brother. He's dead now. He died of cancer, right? But he was there. And as I'm coming out of the pro office, he's coming out. We had different parole agents, right? My pro agent was well known out there. She was no joke. She was on our heads, right? And he had his pro agent. So as we're both walking down the hallway into the main corridor, the main room, he looks at me and he sees me and his eyes get hella big. Now, from what I had heard, he blamed me for this incident, right? Or wanted to talk to me. So instead of just saying, hey, bro, let me get at you, that motherfucker wanted to get at me, right? He didn't take flight. He ran. I seen him start walking fast, so I already knew what time it was. I was like, and I ain't gonna lie. True story, I was on a bike. I didn't have no car back then, man. The struggle was real. I was trying to get my shit together. I was on an old school beach cruiser. Hey, forks bent like a motherfucker. I used to ride like this. Old school, man. I'm telling you, they never told me it was going to be like this when I started being a gang member, right? So anyways, here I am, a degenerate on a degenerate-ass bike, right, that barely rolls. This motherfucker goes to his truck, man, and pulls something out. I ain't going to lie. And I'm trying to hit corners on that bike, and that motherfucker's on me. Dude. He's dumping. I'm like, hey, let me get at you. It wasn't like that. But I understood how he felt. Later on, a year later, we did have a conversation online, man. And I explained to him, and then he understood. He was like, all right, I get you, brother. I said, look, man, my condolences to you, but my incident had nothing to do with that. If anything, man, I wasn't tripping on your brother like that, man. I got love for him, man. I'm I'm gonna go drop some flowers on his shit. But there's still, even to this day, a lot of people. There's a guy that comes on my lives that says, hey, bro, he always mentions it. And I was like, damn, bro, let that shit go. That had nothing to do with me. But it's crazy how the whole town and everyone, your own homies, can turn on you. And you can get blamed for something that you didn't do when I was just acting accordingly. I was just putting in the work that I was supposed to put in as an active norteño, you know? Sometimes you get a little too active, I guess, and people don't know how to act. But yeah, that shit's all true. That shit all took place. Ultimately, when I got out and I was no longer active, I ran into one of his homeboys from his barrio, man, and we had a good conversation. He was active, I wasn't. He was like, what happened that night? So I told him, and then he was like, yeah, from what we're hearing is this and that it was just an isolated incident. I said, look, bro, I don't know. I feel for it, but it wasn't like we were on some fucking mob shit where, hey, put a hit on this guy. It wasn't like that, man. It was the Wild Wild West, bro. I was doing what I was supposed to do by going in there and handling my business. At least that's what I thought I was supposed to do. I'm not glorifying it. I'm not cool because of it. I ultimately lost 4 years of my life behind that bullshit, right? And here's this fucking dude who's supposed to be a dropout gang member fucking thinking he's hard. And I'm going to tell you, when I walked up to him, this was the funny thing. When I walked up to him in that bar, I spotted him. So what happened was I knew the two bouncers. I went to school with them. They were twin brothers, two black dudes, two Africanos. I went to school with them when I was little, right? So they were the bouncers at this club. So when we come walking up, I told them, hey, bro, before you pay to get in, I was like, let me look and see who's in this motherfucker real quick. They know me, so they're like, go ahead, fool. So I look in, I see this fool. He's sitting like John Gotti with a whole bunch of goons around him, right? Now, he's a dropout at this time. So these dudes all kicking it with him, I consider them trash. If you're kicking it with this dude, you know what time it is. Everyone knew who this guy was. He was very well known, right? So my whole thing was, okay, I'm going to go in and take flight, and that's just what it is. My mind was made up. When your mind is made up, when it triggers to like, fuck it, it's go time. I was on go time. So I told my old lady, hey, look, just get in the car, have that motherfucker running. I'm going to smash, jump out. I told the homies, you guys ready? Yes, we're ready. Ready? Hike. And as we walk in, I was with two other homies. One of the homies was with the business. The other homie, well, he got broken legs, broken arms, and a broken back because of that, right? The DP was real. So anyways, as we walk in, I walk straight up to this guy, and he's got all these goons around him, right? And I walk right up to him, and I was a fool. I'm not going to lie. Now that I think back at it, I'm not proud of it. I'm not trying to glorify it. It was a stupid move on my part. He was a brown man, and I was mad at him because he didn't want to be involved in the reindeer games. Ultimately, what was I mad about? I was mad about because he didn't want to gangbang with me no more. Well, he was about to gangbang that night. So I walk up to him and I'm like, hey, bro, where you from? I know him. I know his barrio. I know exactly who he is. I've known him since we were kids, but I have to do this. And he's like, whoop-de-whoop, norte. And I go, oh, you're norteño again, huh? And he goes, again? And anyways, I'm like, fuck you. So I turn around and there's the bar. And that's when I run into the homie that gets killed a few weeks later and another homie. And they're sitting there and I'm like, oh, what's up, bro? I didn't see him at first. I'm now like comfortable because there's a couple more homies. I'm like, oh, what's up, bro? That's right. And I said, hey, look, there's that fool right there. He's like, oh, shit, I don't know. I just got here, bro. I just pulled up. And when he said that, I kind of was like, Whatever. I grabbed this fucking, there was a Coors Light glass, you know, not an I2 glass, but a fucking Coors Light glass, the silver bullet, right? It was just sitting there. Someone had half a beer and I just turned around and cracked old boy with it. Boom. And it was on and cracking. And I ultimately got stabbed right here in the back of my neck, right? It's like right here on the base of my skull. Anyway, so all the shit goes down. Like I said, a couple weeks later, a week later, dude walks into the police department, turns me in on that shit. And then one of the bouncers, not them two brothers, but there was another bouncer there who I didn't know, who was cousins with this guy, gave up the ghost on me too. And like I said, I took a 4-year deal. And then the homie that was there in the bar, in his own different incident, had nothing to do with that, fucking, you know, ends up getting killed. And then, of course, they were blaming the boy for it. Hey, he would have never got killed if he wasn't there that night. Like, bro, what is his old lady getting fucking wild shit done to her and him getting cut up in the fields have anything to do with me, bro? That would have came up in trial, you know? These guys done told on everything, so it had nothing to do with me. But still, I get a lot of hate in the town for that. Even when I was active, people were tripping on me, you know, trying to kill me and shit and all kinds of crazy shit. Anyways, ultimately, that's how it is, man. When you're gangbanging, you're living that life, you're gonna get caught up in situations that don't even involve you. So pay attention out there. Pay attention to the stories that I'm telling, because they're all truth, man. You never know when your time will come up short. You know, I had homeboys try to hit me, my own homies, over that incident, man. And I had nothing to do with it. With that being said, I don't think you move smooth with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, was that a roach that just flew by? Fucking roaches will never leave me. I can't get rid of them my whole life. Damn, bro. I should have just like a built-in fucking Raid can right here so I could just spray around me. One time, man, I ain't even gonna lie. I was popping at this chick at the mall and a fucking roach went across my hat. She was like, what was that? I tried to play it off. I was like, damn, this mall's ghetto as fuck. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I honestly, truly believe in. And that's the betterment of all people, man. The gun.